iPhone 15 Pro Max has changed my mind about the iPhones in a big way because the last couple of years have been kind of frustrating. The iPhone 13 Pro series was a little bit of a shiny gem surrounded by a lot of frustration, but I am not an iPhone fan. Definitely not an Apple fan, but I buy them every year because I use them to make my videos. And also, I have a lot of family that uses iPhones, so typically I'm always carrying an iPhone and an Android. As of lately, it seems like an iPhone and an Android because I carry a lot of phones. But this is probably my new favorite iPhone. I've loved the SE for a long time. There's a lot of elements I love about it. I wish we could get like an SE Plus with a more modern camera, bigger screen, still have Touch ID. But for what you get here, I've been impressed with it, especially because, well, it's no longer the hottest phone of the year. It started off as the hottest phone of the year because it had a lot of heat issues. It was just randomly getting super hot. It was getting hot when it was charging. Thankfully, those seem to have been like fixed with some software updates. But overall, I've been getting fantastic battery life. It's got a nice, beautiful, brilliant screen on here. I love the action button. And I know we've had that with a lot of Android phones in the past, but it's so nice. And I have mine set up. I'm going to blind y'all. When I press and hold it, it turns on my flashlight. And I'm a very nocturnal person. I'm recording right now. It's 1:07 in the morning as I'm making this video. I stay up most of the night. So as I tiptoe in and out of my house all night long and go into my room, trying to wake up my wife, go use the restroom, things like that, I'm constantly turning the flashlights on my phone. And I know this is a very simple thing, but you haven't been able to do it with an iPhone before, and it's more easy to do this than it is with most other Android phones to have to, turn on the screen, press a button, go through your settings, whatever method you have to use. And honestly, it's one thing I really love about the Motorola Razr Plus and any other Motorola, because you can do the little shake gesture and turn on the flashlight. But that's neither here nor there. I love it on here. It actually does feel lighter. And this is the first iPhone, I think, probably in a very long time, I've actually wanted to carry without a case. And sometimes I do. I live life on the edge. I do have a silicone case. I've had this one since day one, the Apple official silicone case. It works well, and I've not had any problems with it. I'm sure in the next month or two, it'll start to peel off, just like all the Apple silicone cases do, because they're trash. But I like the fit. I like the color matching. I like how snug they are. And I think that, like, early adoption, early cases, they're very good. So my experience with it, other than AirDrop perpetually failing on me, basically every day at least once, it's been pretty good. The battery life I've been really impressed with. I love the deep purple on the iPhone 14 Pro and Pro Max. Amazing color. But I ditched it because, one, they both had terrible battery life. They were not good. And it just never seemed to get better. iOS 16 I thought was pretty terrible. And for months and months, I had problems and problems till once about March or April came around this last year, or earlier this year, I ditched it. I quit using it entirely because it was such a frustrating experience, and I only used it for recording videos. And I get a lot of people that are like, oh, well, if Apple's so bad, why are you using them to record your videos? Like, look, I don't use a regular camera. It is nice and short and simple and easy for me to record, AirDrop it onto my MacBook, edit it, and upload it to the internet. My flow and my work process are tremendously better because of it. And the ecosphere is good too. The Apple Watch Ultra is a really compelling reason to use an Apple phone. The iPhone itself is pretty good. And when you take a look at other things like what you get with using an iPad, using a MacBook, everything just works really well together. And there's nothing still like that in Android. There's nothing has been able to come up to that level. And I've been using a MacBook Pro for the last couple of years to edit all my videos on. It works so well. It only takes me a couple minutes. I could do my editing, I export it, upload it. So, like, the companion relationship I have, and with AirDrop, which I'm recording on my Pixel 8 Pro right now. So if you like this, it's actually recording with the built-in microphones. We'll see how it turns out. But I'm using the selfie camera and the built-in microphones. I have a special microphone that I use with my iPhone, and it works really well. And I think that it allows me to do my job, which is to make videos. So I'm not a big Apple fan. If I were to go in and I had an option to use an Android phone or an iPhone only for the next year or the next 2 years, it would be an Android phone all day long, day and simple. You've got the foldables, you got the flippables, you've got my fan favorite, the Sony Xperia 1 Mark V. There's a lot of different Android phones I would much rather carry than this one. So if I only carried one phone, that's what I would have. But I like to play the iMessage games with my kids on here. It makes it easy for family group messages, and there's just certain things about it that are good. Of course, it has excellent battery life, and yeah, I think that they did a good job with it. I like the design, I like the look, I think the cameras are really fantastic. I still hate the lens flare that you get at nighttime, which I was painfully reminded of when I recorded another video yesterday. It's far from perfect. Like, it is not a perfect phone. And I think that a lot of stuff that Apple does, I don't agree with them as a business. And y'all, if you watch my channel for any matter of time, you know that I'm not a big Apple fan. So that's why I wanted to make this video, because I think despite my negative feelings towards the brand and some of their products, I think this is a really good phone. Now, I ditched the iPhone 15 Pro. I kept the Pro Max because the Pro battery life just was not good. It was just as bad as the iPhone 14 Pro for me. So I was really skeptical even about the 15 Pro Max. But the 15 Pro Max, iOS 17, I could get 8 hours of screen on time out of this. I don't have any battery anxiety. I unplug it in the morning if I happen to be up in the morning, but I usually charge it when I go to bed, whether that's 7 in the morning or 1 o'clock in the morning, whatever time it happens to be, and it pretty much lasts me all day, despite or regardless of whatever I actually do on the phone all day. And like I said, I like the screen, I like the form factor, I like the rounded bezel design on it, I like they shaved some weight off. I could care less about the stupid titanium gimmickiness that goes along with it. I like the USB-C. And I didn't think I would care that much. I was like, whatever, Lightning port, I'm so used to using this, whatever. But it's so nice to be able to charge all of my phones with the same charger. So that's something that's nice to me that might cause a headache for somebody who's only been using an iPhone and only using the Lightning cable. But I just wanted to talk about this again because it's been out for, about 2 months now. And I think there's been a lot of positives about it. Again, I use it every day to record my videos. It shoots amazing B-roll, and it's actually, if you take a look, it's actually rated like 1 point higher whenever it comes to camera comparisons with the iPhone 15 Pro Max versus the Pixel 8 Pro. So I don't know. I've been impressed. I think they did a good job. I think they addressed a lot of the issues that I had last year and that I've had with some of the other phones in the past. The battery life was a big question mark that they put a big check mark by that one for me. I'm really, really happy about that. And yeah, overall, I think they've done a good job. It's supported for a really long time. And I think that if you're interested in an iPhone and you want the biggest, the best, the brightest, the ProMotion display, and all those other great things, then it's hard to say that you could go wrong with this phone. Now, I didn't like that they basically bumped the price up, but at the same time, it's basically you got the extra storage upgrade. So I understand they wanted to bump that up to try and get more money out of folks, which mission accomplished. I actually got the 512 because I need that to record my videos. They're very expensive phones. And that's one thing, when I end up spending almost $1,500 for this thing, and then folks will be like, oh, well, the folding phones are too expensive. Like, really? I probably, if I traded in the right phone, could have gotten the Fold 5 cheaper than I got my iPhone 15 Pro Max. So I don't buy into those arguments. And I think a lot of it is brandism, elitism. People are just Apple fanboys and hating on Android stuff. I think there's a lot of great phones out there, and it just depends on what you want, what suits your needs, and what is available at your price point and will make you happy. And there's a lot of phones that can do that, but I know I've had a lot of like negative comments about Apple in the past, and I'm certainly not converting to being an Apple fanboy. That'll never happen. There's like 10 Android phones I'd pick before I would buy this one. But if you have to get one and you want the biggest and the best, and you want to have all the cool features and a phone that works really well, other than AirDrop, at least for me, and has fantastic battery life, I've really enjoyed this phone. I think they've done a good job. It's been very convincing for me. And the action button, yes, I know it's kind of cliche at this point, and I know that I'm going to get some comments like, oh, why are you praising Apple? Android did that like 10 years ago. Yeah, they did. But what major flagship phones have a convenience key right now? Not a whole lot of them, right? So I'm glad they brought that over because I like it a lot. It's really nice. And you can program it to do all sorts of things other than just a flashlight. So that's all I got in this video. Just wanted to make this and talk about it again. And if you have any questions or comments, of course, please go to the comment section. We can talk about it. If you enjoyed it, if you got an iPhone 15 or 15 Pro or Pro Max series, sound off. I'd love to hear what your thoughts are on it as well. And please hit the like and the subscribe button, the little notification bell if you want updates when they come out. If YouTube actually pushes those out to you, that would be cool. And I'd love to have you back. And as always, thanks for being here. I appreciate you watching, and I'll see you guys next time.